Nasdaq 100 technical analysis, and we're on the daily chart. Before we get into the actual technical analysis, I just wanted to mention that the last couple of weeks have been extremely difficult in as far as executing our trades is concerned, and that is primarily due to earnings season. And to those of you who aren't exactly sure as to what earnings season is, essentially what it is a 2-month period where companies that are listed on the various stock markets in the US release their earnings, their financials, and these would significantly have an impact on your Nasdaq 100 and US 30 as well as S&P 500, right? So the good news is that earnings season is just about done, and we just left with a few companies, and I believe that once earnings season is done, we will then start to see proper price action movements in as far as indices are concerned. And yeah, without wasting any further time, guys, let's get straight into the actual technical analysis. And we are on the daily chart, as I said, and we know by now that in as far as the daily chart goes, we are indeed in an upward trending market, and we still expect the market to move further up. But at this point in time, what do we see that we should be paying attention to? At this point, we can see that the market is at a very strong level of support, as we had multiple rejections in and around that area. And at this point over here is where I believe that we may potentially start to see the market move further up. And that is because, guys, if we were to go to the weekly chart, right, here we are on the weekly chart. On the weekly chart, we can see, as I said previously, that we had this huge double bottom or W structure, and it started at that point, and ideally we want to see the market continue to move from this level all the way up to that level to complete this very nice W structure. So there is plenty of scope for the market from this level to move further up to those levels that I spoke about. Even on the weekly chart, we can see that the market at this point in time is at a very strong level of support. As you guys can see, we've had multiple areas of rejection in and around that area, right? And I believe that we may potentially at that level start to see the market move further up to those higher levels, right? Anyway, let's go back to the daily chart and continue our analysis. What else do we see on the daily chart? On the daily chart, we had also had a W structure over here, guys, which had a neckline at that point, and we saw price breaking to the upside of that neckline, coming back to the neckline to give it a test, and at this point is where we saw the market move further up, right? And then what happened in the future is that price came back again to just give that area a test, right? And as I said, this is a very strong area of support, and indeed we should look for potential buying opportunities within this region. And that is because, guys, as I said, this area is a very strong level of support. To add to this, it was also the neckline of this W structure, right? Where we saw price come back to the neckline to give it a test. It went up, then came again back to the neckline to give it a test. And as I say, at this point is where I believe we should look for potential buy opportunities, right? So what else do we see in regards to the daily chart? Another thing that I also want to point out in regards to the daily chart is that as much as I'm saying that at this point we should look for potential buy opportunities, just bear in mind that we also have another M structure over here which has a neckline at that level. And you guys know that whenever we have these structures, ideally we want to see price break into the bottom side of that neckline, hitting back up to the neckline to give it a test, and where we have that neckline is generally where we look for those potential selling opportunities, right? So we should just be careful because we have a barrier here in the form of a level of resistance, as we may see the market actually move up only to test this level of resistance and then move further down, because as I said, we have this M structure over here, right? But as I said, guys, we are in an upward trending market in as far as the weekly chart goes. And remember, on the weekly chart we have that huge W, and I said to you guys that it started at this point, and ideally we still want to see the market continue to move further up to close in line with where it started, right? So as much as I'm saying that we have an M structure over here, right, it's just a barrier, but I believe that over time we will see the market move further up to all of those higher levels that I spoke about rather. Another thing that I also see is that we have this candlestick over here, and what it is a bearish candlestick with a small body and quite a long lower wick. And what it tells me is that we have a lot of liquidity stuck there at the bottom, and we may potentially see price actually push further up, then come back again to that level to give us the second leg of that W structure, as well as to grab the liquidity associated with that candlestick, and then we may then potentially see the market move further up. Anyway, from here let's head down to the H4 chart and see what's happening down there. And here we are on the H4 chart. Just to zoom out on the H4 chart, we can see that we are in a downward trending market. But remember that in as far as both the daily chart as well as the weekly chart, we are in an upward trending market. So I wouldn't take this downtrend on the H4 chart too seriously, because in my very humble opinion, it was caused by earnings season. And I believe that we're gonna start seeing the market start to move up, right? Remember, guys, I spoke about that candlestick over here that's carrying all of that liquidity, and here we are on the H4 chart. On the H4 chart, I don't see much, but I want to bring to attention this area over here, this block over here, right? This whole area over here, if you guys look closely, we'll see that the market has been very, very choppy. Yes, we have been in a downward trending market, but it's been extremely choppy at this point, and I don't believe that this is tradable, right? This is not tradable, and a lot of us actually lost a lot of money trading this area over here, right? And this area, as I said, was caused by earnings season, and we're just about done with the earnings season, and we're gonna start seeing some proper price action movements. And in as far as the H4 chart goes, in fact, before we continue with the H4 chart, remember on the daily chart I spoke about how we have this M structure over here, which has a neckline at that point. Remember that this is a very strong level of resistance, and as much as I'm saying that we should start looking for those potential buy opportunities, we may find some resistance at this point, but long term I expect the market to actually move further up, right? But as far as the H4 chart goes, right, I would say, because we have the candlestick over here that's carrying all of that liquidity at the bottom, I would love to see the market give us something like this, and on that second leg of the W structure or double bottom is where I believe we should look for those potential buy opportunities, right? I believe we should start looking for those potential buy opportunities. But as far as looking for potential buy or sell opportunities at this point in time, I don't see any. And the reason why I don't see any is because the markets have been extremely choppy over the last couple of days and weeks. And as I said, I would love to see the market give us this. And on that second leg of the W structure, I believe we should look for buy opportunities. And if we find any good ones, I also believe that we should hold up until price reaches this level. This should be your first take profit level. Your second take profit level should be around this level, and your third take profit level should be around that level. Just remember, guys, as I said, that if you can just go back to the weekly chart, on the weekly chart, as I said, we have this huge W structure started at that level, right? And ideally we want to see the market continue to move further up to that level to complete that structure. So we should look for potential buy opportunities for the most part.